Hola amigos, es la señorita Wooldridge. Hello friends, it's Miss Wooldridge. Are you ready for a story? This is a super fun one. It's Pete the Cat, who was our favorite, so you already know we're gonna love this book. But this is Pete the Cat, Trick or Pete. Not Trick or Treat, Trick or Pete. And the author is James Dean. Who can raise a quiet hand in home and tell me what the author does? Can you show your mom and dad and your grandmas and grandpas how we raise a quiet hand at preschool? We cover our mouth and raise our hand. We cover our mouth so that we're not tempted to say the answer before our teacher calls our name. So when Miss Wooldridge says, who can raise a quiet hand and tell me what the author does? You do this. And then I'll say, Jalen, I love your quiet hand. Can you tell me what the author does? And then Jalen and all my other friends are going to say, the author writes the books. The author writes the books. Hi ho librario, the author writes the books. James Dean is the author who wrote this awesome Pete the Cat book. It's so fun. I can't wait for you to read it. Let's get started. It's Halloween. Pete the Cat is excited to go trick-or-treating in his superhero costume. See the letter P for Pete? So maybe he's dressed up like Super Pete. I hope nothing too spooky happens, says Pete. And look at the full moon. Oh, and look, this is a Lift the Flap book. So there's a hidden picture under here. Let's see, what does Pete see? Oh, what is that? It's a witch on a broom. Remember from 10 Busy Brooms this week, we read about witches on brooms? Are witches real? No. Are flying brooms real? No. Would you like to have a flying broom? I'd like to have a broom that cleans my house all by itself. That's what I'd like to have. I bet your mom would like one of those too. Don't worry, says Pete's dad. We have our flashlights. Let's go trick-or-treating, says Pete. All right, so there's Pete and his dad. They have their flashlights. Uh-oh, what's behind this flap? Boo! It's a spider and a spider web. We see lots of spiders this time of year, don't we? Pete and his dad walk outside. Whoosh! The wind rustles the leaves. Pete sees something moving in the tree. What do you think it is? They can't see it because it's dark, so they're going to shine their flashlight. But look at the shape. What do you think that looks like? I think that looks like Harmony's favorite bird. It is. It's an owl. That's Harmony's favorite bird in the classroom. It's just an owl. That wasn't too spooky, says Pete. They arrive at a neighbor's house. Pete rings the doorbell. He hears a strange sound coming to the door. What do you think that strange sound is? The other day, when I brought your packets to your house, Alex, I bet you guys heard a strange sound at your door. That's because I didn't knock on the door to give you your packet because I didn't want the mailman to take it. Trick or treat, let's see what's behind the door. It's just Callie Cat, Pete says. She's not too spooky. Look, she's dressed up like one of those witches. That's funny. Callie joins Pete and his dad trick-or-treating. At the next house, there is something in the yard. What do you think that is, Cohen? Can you tell by that shape? Let's see if you're right. Whew! It's just a scarecrow, says Pete. That's not too spooky. Cohen, have you ever seen a real scarecrow? Out in someone's farm or in their yard for decoration, maybe? Pete rings the doorbell. Ding dong. Trick or treat, says Pete and Callie. There's another door. All right, Connor. What do you think's behind this door? Do you think it's something spooky? Or do you think it's something fun? All right, Connor, let's see if you're right. It's Mrs. Gold, their teacher. Awesome costume, says Pete. Very spooky, but not too spooky. And Mrs. Gold said, thank you. It's nice to compliment someone. At the next house, there is something glowing on the steps. Scarlet, look at those faces. What do you think that is, Scarlet? What do you think's on the porch? Let's see. Cool, says Pete. It's 3 jack-o'-lanterns. 3 jack-o'-lanterns. Elisa, count with me. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 jack-o'-lanterns on the porch. Callie rings the doorbell. Trick or treat, says Pete and Callie. Okay, Jude, it's your turn to guess. What do you think is behind this door, Jude? I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it and make a guess. Have you made a guess? Okay, let's see. It's another one of Pete's teachers. And what is she dressed up like? Can you tell from that picture? She's dressed up like a sheriff, maybe. I see the star up there, so maybe she's a police sheriff. But then when I look at her outfit, she kind of looks like a cowgirl. Maybe she's a cowgirl sheriff. I'm not sure. What do you think, Jude? She's got candy and treats. 1 piece each, she says. Oh no, Ashlyn. Suddenly, they hear something behind them. What was that? Asked Callie. Oh, it's just our dog friend, Emma. Not spooky, but groovy. One last house, and then we'll go home, says Pete's dad. Pete rings the doorbell. Ding dong! Yikes! It's a spooky ghost, screams Pete. Hey, Camden, are ghosts real? Is that really a spooky ghost? Let's see. No, it's not a real ghost. Don't be silly, Pete. It's just your grandma. Callie and Pete got treats and hugs. It was just the silly grandma. Grandmas are so silly sometimes, aren't they, Alex? Trick-or-treating wasn't spooky at all. Look at all of that candy they have. Look at their buckets. They're overflowing. Oh, and the sign says beware. Do you know what beware means? It means there could be something spooky or dangerous behind this door. Let's look and see. No. Halloween is actually full of sweet surprises. And see, they're all happy. No one is sad. No one is scared. Happy Halloween! And then all the friends ride off on the magic flying broom that we know is not real, but this was a really fun book. We've got a black cat, we've got Callie, we've got Pete, we've got their dog Emma, there's the jack-o'-lantern, the owl, and the spider. Friends, I hope you have a happy Halloween this weekend. Remember, I live in the neighborhood, so if you go around trick-or-treating, you might see me. Maybe. And then you would know where I live, and then I know where you live, and we've both been to each other's houses. How cool is that? Friends, I love you. Te amo. I miss you. Te extraño. And I wish you well. Te deseo éxito. Have a great weekend. Adios.